Where's the love? Where's the love? It's right here in the heart of the city. I'm Silas Grant. Got my man with me, TL. What's up, Tony Lewis?
What's up, home?
You good?
Man, I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know, man. But I mean, I'm here with you, home. So I'm good. But man, it's a different moment that we in. You know what I'm saying, in our city, man. You know?
It's a lot happening.
Yeah, man.
A lot happening.
A ton, man.
You know what I think about in this moment? This is eventually going to be in the history books, right? What's happening right now.
Yeah.
And when you think back to events and periods that are already in the history books, if you just look at what's in the book, you get like a limited picture of what's going on at the time, right? Yeah. And I was just thinking today, this weekend we were over at the Spice Suite celebrating 10 years with Angel over there.
Angel, man. Happy 10-year anniversary.
Yeah, happy 10-year anniversary. So many things happening right now. And in the midst of what I would consider to be an attempt at, manufacturing chaos, it's also still like some great things happening, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that I think about is that for all of us, we have a choice in what we focus on and how we focus on it. And this is normally a message that we kind of do at the end of the show, but just off the top, I'm just thinking, like, as we in this moment, like, it's really important for those of us who, have the ability to impact the minds of others, man, to really encourage people.
Yeah.
This is a real tough time, but we got to figure out how we get through it together, how we fuse, relationships and all the things that are necessary to be able to adjust, because there is an attempt to try to make us feel rattled, and that's what I don't want us to be preoccupied with.
Scared.
Yeah.
But I think you're absolutely right, and it's important to set the intention, and look for the silver lining, which could be us becoming more united, more together, and that's in community, right? Or these communities that may have had issues with each other. Understanding there's bigger forces, right? That a lot of that stuff is incredibly frivolous on a political level. I think it's important that, again, people put differences aside, right? It's no time for grandstanding, no time to be trying to, point fingers. Like, this is really a time for us to come together as a community as a whole. And that really is my hope. I think the thing that's been the most, alarming to me, though, is that that's what we've been trying to message to our people. Don't get taken. Like, don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe, if you will, right? Minimize your interaction with law enforcement. Let them do what they do. Keep it moving. Stay out of spaces. Don't do things that's gonna create spaces where they can go further than what they might were intending. And that's things like drinking in public, smoking weed in public, a lot of stuff that MPD wasn't enforcing. The laws never went off, or if it's things that decriminalized, not necessarily legal, right? They just weren't enforcing it. And so those laws still exist, and those laws are being implemented right now in this moment. And so things that you might be like, oh, look, man, this ain't, we don't get locked up. Well, now you might. You know what I'm saying? Riding around with dead tag, all that stuff that a lot of times is going, unaddressed. This and not now. And the protocols, the chain of command, the MPD has been taken in a way. It's been federalized, right?
Now, real quick, because I don't want to make the assumption. We call this show Heart of the City, and people assume that we're talking just about D.C., but it's really more of a concept of the heart of any city, right?
Yeah, sure.
So there may be some people watching from out of town. Just real quick, explain the backdrop, because we jump right into it.
Yeah, so on Monday, August, what's today, 13th?
Yeah.
August 11th, President Donald Trump, basically in D.C., we have a home rule charter, and within that home rule charter, which gave the District of Columbia the ability to elect a city council and a mayor. I think that took effect in 1974.
Yeah.
But in that charter, which is a law passed through Congress, the president can evoke, if the president see an emergency or deem something an emergency, a public safety emergency, he could federalize our police force or take control or ask the mayor to lend the police force to him. And so, in effect, that's what he's done. And so now, our police force now is under the direction of the Attorney General Pam Bondi, in the Justice Department. And they've appointed a commissioner who's gonna oversee. And so, yes, we still have a police chief, but the police chief now is pretty much taking orders from DOJ. And not only that, he also called up 800 members of the D.C. National Guard, and also other federal troops, or federal officers from agencies such as DEA, ATF, the Border Patrol, the Homeland Security, Park Police, and other federal partners, Federal Protective Services, to help address the issue of public safety, which was in the District of Columbia, which was the emergency. Okay, and so now you have these entities in community, looking to make the community safer. Right, on its face, that's what we've been told. But when they're coming into communities that they don't patrol often, communities that they don't know, that they aren't familiar with from a cultural standpoint, from a logistical standpoint, and also those communities aren't familiar with them. If it's not the right bridge there, if it's not the right information shared, the likelihood that there could be, and he pretty much licensed the federal officers to do whatever they deem necessary, right? And we know that in some of these communities, man, that could go left pretty fast, and that's what I'm afraid of. I will say I have seen a few clips of officers in communities, right? And the clips that I've seen shared by people in the community. And though the people in the community was just showing, like, look at all these police or these federal officers here, but I really can say that I felt like the tone seemed respectful, right? The tone didn't seem over the top. I mean, we can feel how we feel about that presence being there, but if nothing else, to come into these communities understanding that these are people's communities. This is where people live. And, my hope is that when they coming into these communities, the thought is that we're here to keep everybody safe. We're not here to keep the community safe from you. And that, to me, is the messaging. That's what needs to happen. If we're telling our people to be cautious, don't be involved in criminal, nothing that we wasn't telling them before, right? We've been saying this, but also the people coming into these communities have to have the mindset that we're coming to keep this city safe. Everybody in it. Not just, the quote unquote bad guys. And that narrative of the criminal and the teenage, devils, and you know what I'm saying? That's not helpful. Even if there are young people that are engaging in criminal activity, I think even on a street level, people get this confused, man. And really and truly, a lot of the violence we see in the street is because people believe in accountability.
Right. Yeah.
You understand? That get missed. Yeah. The streets really do believe in accountability. You did that, you got to pay. There's a consequence for that.
Yeah.
So people understand consequence in the black community. People understand accountability in the black community. What we don't understand is when you talk about literally throwing people's lives away, not seeing their humanity, right? And I think two things can be true. We can talk about holding young people accountable, right? But that accountability has to be aimed at making those young people better, right? Because they will return to our community. And a lot of the legislation that's being attacked is dangerous. We continue to see people humanity. We see people that have made mistakes as young people be held accountable, do decades in prison, but be able to come back to the community and work in public safety. But I just want, and I hope that, but come talk to us. and you know, these targets, the Dems that run the city and all that, those people represent us, the constituents. They doing what we want. We pay some of the highest taxes in America. You don't tell us about how we should govern or how we should feel about certain things. You understand what I'm saying? So I really hope that we can get some lines of communication, not only with the White House, but with the U.S. Attorney specifically. You are the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. You know, come talk to us about our communities. Meet with these guys that have been sentenced through IRA. Talk to them. You can even stay feeling how you feel. I would even love to hear your views, though. And that's another thing about, like, we done got so dug in, bro, that we don't even talk. And I think that's dangerous. But it's more dangerous when people are coming into our community that don't live in our community, telling us how our community should be. You know what I mean? That would never fly anywhere else. And for all the constitutionalists, all of the people always talking about the forefathers, and even if you say in the Constitution it talks about, you know, the district and remain in the district, this ain't even a statehood piece for me. What I'm talking about is same thing to invoke the Boston Tea Party. You know what I mean? Like when we don't have our fair representation, when somebody from somewhere else comes in.
There it is.
Yeah, that's tyranny.
Yeah,
this country was founded on fighting against that. And you say you believe in that. How is it patriotic to come into our city? And I ain't yes, you the president. You really have that carte blanche. You do, right? That's your you have that right as the president. But there has to, as a president, you our president as well. You know what I mean? This can't be about how many people in D.C. voted for you or didn't vote for you. You the president now. You work for us. You are the command. You run the country. We are part of it. You cannot just disregard us. You know what I mean? And that's the part that I think that again is alarming. In these efforts, our babies could potentially be in danger. I don't want my children to see soldiers walking around in their neighborhood. Like, what we on? Like, how? It's not a crime emergency, sir. It's just not. And that's the thing that we really have to, like, but see our humanity, man, in that way. Like, that's not okay. Right? And so, anyway, I digress, man. I just think that everybody out there, not just the babies, but just us in general, you moving around, go out, explore our city, enjoy your life. Hopefully, you know what I mean, these efforts work. I think it's also an assumption that just the mere presence of these agents and these troops just automatically makes us safer. How? That doesn't necessarily, if people in this city had $1 billion taken out of our budget, bro, like if it's no long-term plan to help people thrive, public safety will never be realized in the way that we want it to. So yeah, but don't get taken. Be safe. Be smart. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully, again, we'll come closer together because of this moment.
Yeah. So along those lines, there are two things that I think have played a major factor in what's happening right now. Right. One, youth have been the centerpiece of this conversation.
Yeah.
And then also perceptions in media, right? So if I had to say two major factors in this conversation, there's been the perception of young people and then how that perception has been disseminated in media. And we have a guest with us today who does incredible work with young people in the media space. So I don't know that there's anybody better that we will be sitting with today than the person who's with us. This is a long time coming.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
That was a great introduction. Go ahead.
If you let him tell it, we've been running from this.
Yeah, if he let him tell it, you know what I'm saying? You know,
but somebody
that was a reason too. He would say. He would say for a multitude of reasons. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But we both know him since we were probably kids, right? And
I ain't that much older than y'all, so don't do that.
I ain't say you wasn't a kid. I just said we've known you since we were kids.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So
true story.
Right, yeah.
True story.
But we've been joined by the great, legendary. He has so many names.
I was gonna jump in and just say what I mean.
First of all, what we could go probably 3 or 4 different lanes.
Yeah, it depends on what he's doing.
3 or 4 different names.
True story.
So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna run down the list. He was born Salih Williams.
Okay.
They call him Big E. Call him Bootsy Vegas.
WPGC,
And then now they
shout
call
out.
him like the scholarship whisperer, who he's getting
Yeah,
all these
that too,
kids.
Congressional Medal winner.
Yeah,
you know,
that too.
That, you know,
Forgive me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
They call you Salih. He's back Salih Williams when he get
Yeah.
when he down on the hill and all that, getting the
Yeah.
awards.
I am Salih on that one.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
then, as Raheem DeVos music director, I can go back to E or Bootsy Vegas
Well,
really
that
quick.
too.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
Yeah.
You wear a lot of hats, sir.
I know.
Welcome to Heart of the City, Salih
you, man.
Williams, man.
Bro.
First of all, before we get into all we gonna get into, man, I just want to say thank you, and I want to say to both of you guys, thank you for being an amazing source of inspiration in serving your community, giving back, being present in a lot of other spaces, but also always being accessible and supportive in my situation as well. Because I know we gonna get into a lot of stuff in here, but let me just say this: I appreciate y'all, and you know, and I do love y'all. You know, I think you guys know that. I love you guys for who you are, but what you do and what you serve, and a lot of what I do is in the spirit of what you guys have been doing.
Yeah.
My man,
So,
I appreciate
you,
that.
bro.
All right, so we can get all that out of the way
Nah,
now.
but look, I wanna, if I may, right?
Go ahead.
I think that you know, in a lot of times in our conversations, you know, I think context is important, right?
Right.
And you know, I want to go back. Of course, you know what I'm saying. You from the other side of North Capitol, you know what I'm saying. But that ain't gonna start. I ain't gonna do no digs on that way and all that.
Yeah, because
know
one
what I
thing about them digs, they definitely go both
Yeah, but
ways,
nah,
baby.
you know what
Them
I'm
digs
saying?
go both ways, slug.
But nah, man.
Okay.
But you know, McKinley Tech.
Yep.
You know, you a twin.
Yep.
But tell us a little bit about, man, you got something about you, like your presence, bro. An artist, a creative, right? But tell us about when did you know that you had sort of that creative spirit? Where did it first show, and when did you first sort of like identify like that? I got something.
Well, I just think because of the environment, you know, we grew up in the District of Columbia when it was Chocolate City. You know, as a young person, I think people don't realize how important the Junkyard Band was. To see some young people my age play on some buckets and get a bunch of stuff and make it to TV. I just think the creative space and the area that we grew up in, you know, I grew up near you. You know, when I was growing up, we would go to McKinley Tech Pool. And you could hear the go-go music blasting. I just think it was the environment. To be here when it was Chocolate City, growing up in them days, everything about this place was culture. We had our own style of dress, madness. You know, when you think about all of that, our own talk, our own lingo. We were like in our own world, but it was a creative space. And I will say the fact that we had, because I tell people why some great leaders that came out of here that only could have came out of the District of Columbia. John Thompson is one, the proudest black man we ever seen. Go to Georgetown, unapologetically black man. Donnie Simpson, you know, people like that. I think I grew up in an era where we saw black people in leadership like Marion Barry, and what I got from that was there were not a lot of limitations. You know, that could have been a good thing or a bad thing, because, you know, I've said this before, go-go could have only happened in D.C. because it was 90% black, 95% black. There were no other ethnic groups for us to compete against. You know what I mean? Right. I don't think go-go could have been created in 2025 District of Columbia.
Right.
But, you know, when you think about it in now, you know what I mean, when it was 98% black in PG County, we just grew up in a place where black people could thrive, be creative, have these spaces, and didn't have to worry about anything. So I just think that's where it started from as a young person.
So look, let me, you know, of course you were the lead mic at OP Tribe,
Yep.
right? All right, but so what y'all played at our prom too, man.
Yep.
Gonzaga prom.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
and I remember thinking, what is Tony Lewis doing in here? Shout out to Tim and Tom. They goes. I remember.
Yeah.
I just saw Tim
Yeah.
Saturday. Yeah.
I can
Shout out
remember,
to
you
them,
know,
man.
us remember they tell us,
That's
you
funny,
know, we
bro.
got to dress up, and seeing Slug
Yeah,
in the prom.
no question.
You know what I mean?
Nobody knew I went to Gonzaga. That's crazy.
And like, what is he doing? What is he doing in here? You know what I mean? And I'm looking at you like that for a reason, because you know, I, you know, we would bump into each other. I knew, you know, I grew up near him, so.
Yeah,
But
that's
that was such an amazing, you know. Yeah, I played at your prom.
But the question I was gonna ask though, like if this, and I don't think people think about this though, far as like the go-go band, right?
Right.
the person that and for all our listeners and viewers from around the country, the lead mic, right? That's the person, right? That's like the lead singer in a group, right? But how did you get in that role, right? Did you come in that was gonna be your role?
Yeah,
or like,
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. So this is the honest to God truth. Since I was born, I only wanted to do two things. I wanted to be Chuck Brown and Donnie Simpson. That was like always my goal. I had like I wanted to do radio and I wanted to do go-go music. And Bugs, at first it was Chuck. But what Chuck kind of intimidated me because he played the guitar, he could sing and all that. But when I saw Bugs do it, it looked like something that I could do.
And Bugs, y'all, for those out there who
Junkyard
don't know,
Band.
just leave for Junkyard.
Yeah.
Band. Yes, sir.
So, from that, what I mean, it was just, it was what I wanted to do, and I always wanted to do it. I mean, I became engulfed in it. I had blinders on it. I didn't care about nothing else. I did not want to accomplish nothing else. I wanted to be a successful go-go lead talker, and I wanted to do radio. And and the other thing, I wanted to work with Earth, Wind & Fire. Okay. That was, I'm one of the few people probably in America that literally, as a young person, had a dream, and I executed every one of them.
Yeah, that's inspiring just to hear that.
Yeah.
And to know, we'll get to, but to know that you actually did all of those things. But
wow. but for go-go, it was just.
And your biggest, so I gotta ask this question too on a go-go tip.
I love it
because you mentioned, of course, you mentioned the Godfather. You mentioned Bugs from JY. Where does funk come? Was funk, because I know in that time frame.
Okay, I love this. This is where we going. So to me, Chuck Brown is the greatest lead talker ever. I've broken this down. There are 5 elements to me to be a successful lead talker. You got to be a good singer. You got to be a good rapper. You got to be a great interactor with the crowd. You have to be able to conduct and lead the crowd, and you got to be a great musician. Chuck was a great guitar player. Chuck was a great singer. Chuck could rap. Chuck could lead talk. Chuck with all that. I don't think nobody's ever going to surpass him as a lead talker. Okay. He is Dr. J. Yeah. He created it. Michael Jordan is James Funk. He took it somewhere because he did not play an instrument. He had this gift, and I can break all of it down. Chuck Brown would talk like in between of it. He was more of a groove lead talker.
Funk, he kind of was leading the band as well.
Yeah, he did everything. He did everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Call and response. James Funk was laid back and behind the beat. You know what I mean? Like, where is the security? You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, right. So he would be behind the beat. Bugs would talk kind of fast, so he'll be in front of the beat. The slam it. Lil Benny would be in the middle of it. Something, you know what I mean? Do it, you know what I mean? So there were different styles or whatever. Chuck Brown is literally the greatest. We don't exist without him.
Clearly, we know that.
No, but I'm talking about as far as the impact of still interacting, creating call and response.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or chants and all that. He created it. James Funk is Michael Jordan. He took it somewhere.
Yeah.
Little Benny, I kind of don't know how I would call him like Vince Carter, but I would say Big G is definitely
Kobe. He got to be Kobe.
Yeah, he Kobe. You know what I mean? He took it somewhere that has never been.
And
the mark of a real good lead talker is, before you came, it was this.
But G might be he might be LeBron.
Yeah, no, he is LeBron.
With the longevity, he got to be Bron.
He's 100% LeBron.
And a phenom.
No, he's LeBron.
You might can go Kobe, but he can be free. He got to be
Lil Benny Kobe.
Lil Benny can be Kobe.
Lil Benny is Kobe. But the mark of a great leader or a great musician, man. Yeah, he might be Kobe.
He might be Kobe.
Yeah. But let me give you. But let me say this though. None of them would exist without Ging.
Yeah.
So you got to keep that in mind.
But that's why I see Ging like.
He revolutionized lead.
But see, it's like that's every time. It's like when we talk in general though. You always say something make me think. But when you think about, that's why for me, Ging might be. But just because of his impact, he might got to be Jordan.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like You see what I'm saying? Just
yeah,
because
but
I
funk,
feel like
but you can't minimize what funk is.
I'm not trying to.
No, I'm not saying that.
No, but let
And-
me,
oh no, I know.
Let me go on record though.
Yeah,
Let me-
yeah,
let's
because your
be-
father
no,
home,
let's bring-
and you
Nah,
gotta go
but
see your
look,
father.
no, no.
You definitely gotta go see Big
Not
Tony.
only that.
You talk about
No,
funk.
not only that though.
Okay.
Not only that. Anybody who know me know. Not only that though. We can't say that 'cause I ain't never minimizing him. Cause
being
for
funny.
me, listen, when I'm a you know, I born in 80, right? So the sound of of course, my grandmother, my mother, all they listen to Chuck. But for me, that funk is like that's my guy. You know what I'm saying? On that
That's
when I
my
was a
guy.
kid, right? But I'm saying, so when I say that, I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
I don't even play like
Big
that.
Tony waiting on you.
Yeah, baby.
You be playing.
Yeah.
Play if you want.
But yeah, that
You
is
can play
that's
if
it.
you
I
want.
just
that's
always
his
think
game.
about. I think about you and Ging
Mm-hmm.
in a way where,
Ging broke down barriers that people don't give him credit for.
yeah,
First of all, there was no uptown lead talkers. Everything was Southeast and Maryland related.
yeah,
He kind of ushered in a whole side of the. You got to remember, Bug Southeast, Rapper Maryland Southeast, Sugar Bear Southeast, Funk Southeast. Ging made uptown. That's number one. But the other thing that Ging showed you that it's no boundaries what you can do. It's almost like how rappers start rapping and then you become a clothing line and then you start acting and all that. Ging showed every lead talker what you can do in this area and how far you really can take it. And the mark of a real genius, the mark of a real, because I've been around a few of them, is Go-Go was sounding, lead talker was sounding one way, and then this person come and everybody is emulating that guy.
yeah.
From the time Ging came,
It ain't been the
since
same.
then, you can hear
Everybody.
every lead talker after him
That's what
have a
I'm
lot of
saying.
Ging.
That's what I-
So,
that's what
so
I'm
for
saying.
that, I don't know if you can have any lead talking conversation without Big G.
to-
He do not get the credit he deserves.
But to that point though, right? Because I mean, we started this conversation talking about the youth, right?
Right.
And I think, obviously, like we were super young when James Funk and all them was like you talking about 6, 7 years old, right?
That's right.
So they may have been this, but not for us. But I think for y'all, you and Ging in particular, y'all weren't just musicians at that time. Y'all were really leading young people.
Right, that's true.
Y'all were the first two that I felt purposely created a parallel between the music and anti-violence, right? Ceasefire,
Yeah, I worked in the Maryland Break Institute
Right.
for 10 years. I led that.
MBYLI.
Yeah.
And y'all were leveraging that on stage, right? And then when you saw y'all in public, y'all still were pushing that message
Right.
in the street, right?
Right.
Even on public access channels that y'all may have been guest on, right? Metro World, whatever the case
I
may
hosted
be.
Metro World.
I remember that.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So it's like, I think for me, when I look at the legacy of you and a guy like Ging, I think y'all were the two that I remember the most that really started like on purpose messaging to young people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least in go-go, right?
I didn't think about it like that.
You know what I mean?
But it's the truth.
No, that's definitely a fair assessment.
And guess what?
That's
And guess
fair.
what? And two, I think what gets missed sometimes. as
Because we
talk
still
about-
doing it.
Well, it's who y'all are.
Yeah, we still doing it now.
But as we talk about like the reflections on DC, right? The reflections, and watch this. The reflections I see like a lot go right to. It go from 86 to like 92. That's all of the reflections in the like the glory, whatever, you know what I mean? But the era that we come in, that 90 to 2000, that era,
Yeah.
where you talking about the not the money of the crack era, but the death of the crack era. And y'all came up in that. And so to your point about what
Man, y'all got me
y'all
thinking.
did
Wow.
was focused, because that was the demographic y'all was speaking to.
Yeah.
The people on the other end of that, the kid that was born in the 80s, but now he, you know,
Trying to figure it
between
out.
two, yeah,
Trying
and
to
it was
figure-
deadly, and
trying to
y'all
make his
was
way. Yeah.
y'all was performing and acknowledging, and that's the thing. Even in my book, where I try to get credence, the backyard and just frame it around how what the go-go was doing for us.
Yeah.
The rest of the world were invisible, bro. It was dark, and those moments, man, lit dudes' lives up. Some dudes, for real, that was the only bright spot in their whole life. Dudes was dying at 15 and 16 or 4. You feel what I'm saying?
Power
Nobody
of
look
go-
at it
yeah.
like that.
That's one thing about people don't understand about go-go is You know, go-go is the only music in America that is designed for the person that come that night. People celebrate their birthdays. People mourn death. People celebrate birth. You know, it's one of those exchange when you're a lead talker. It's almost like you were I don't want to say prophesizing, but you're almost like a minister, like you're part of the healing process. In an OP Tribe case, because we did not cuss back in those days, we got on a lot of shows. We were like the band. A supreme shout out to Ignatius Mason, and I can, because he was the person who really created the OP Tribe thing. He kind of set the foundation of what we was going to be, what we were going to represent, how it was necessary for us to present ourselves a certain way. So, you know, I don't really exist without Ignatius Mason, and his name is never talked about. But what he set us up for, which we didn't realize, was he set all of us up. Scooby, everybody in that band is still doing stuff music-wise because he laid a foundation in developing us and letting us know what the power of that microphone was. But that's such a, you know, you got me thinking about that that was true. And a lot of times we were there to play in OP Tribe was because we represented that.
Yeah.
Now, we keep saying OP Tribe, but
Optimistic
it was Optimistic Tribe.
Yeah,
and that's a key component to this, because
Appreciate
in the midst of 92 to like 2000, where it was death, that was a bold statement to be, one, named Optimistic Tribe, but
Right.
then secondly, to make that commitment that we're not going to use vulgar language in an
Right.
era where like that was a key component to the creativity of the music.
Shout
and
out
y'all
to
stood
Ignatius.
out.
Shout out to Ignatius Mason. He wouldn't allow it. You know what I mean? But the great thing was he emphasized the power of the microphone, the power that we possess, the fact that this was a bigger cause than us just coming around playing. You know, like there were times, I remember when he came up with the name was, we're not going to be a band. We're going to put Tribe at the end. Because he was like, man, everybody got band on it. But when we're trying to unify people, you know, people call it Tribe. And I remember when he came with the idea, I was like, a lot of us was in there. Scooby, rest in peace, Tony Reyes from PGC.
Yeah.
We was in that joint like, man, this guy here. But, you know, then immediately I realized the power in staying in your own lane and the power that how people looked at us afterwards. Like, I think people would say if they was going to be, and I don't want to say no bands, but something Yard or something this, you know, Spectacular Youngins, they would look at that name and say, oh, Optimistic Tribe. Oh, well, what is this about?
Yeah.
And that's when I realized the power of a name as well. Like, you know, and as a young person, it's good to have a mentor like Ignatius Mason who put that in that, you know what I mean, who put us in that. And of course, when you're young, you fighting against it, but you know, people every day somebody come to me talking about OP Tribe. I still have a day. People will come to me talking about PA because, you know, people don't understand the power of PA tapes.
Yeah.
I do think one of the things that we're losing in go-go and why it is like that right now, why it's not what it used to be, is because we got away from PA tapes.
Right.
You know, it may be your birthday, Silas. People said, man, he was putting us on.
Ain't nothing like that.
Yeah. There's nothing like that. I think that is one thing that has been lost right now, that we kind of got to get back to really the essence. And like mixtapes was in New York, PA tapes were a very essential component because people to this day will come to me saying, yeah, I got the PA tape from 9/12/96.
Yeah, that's a
and I'll be like,
yeah.
oh, okay. You know what I mean? Yeah, so
How feasible is it
you can do it.
to do it, but like in a digital way?
Easy. Just
Right,
do
it's
it.
probably my thoughts was that it might be even easier to do it digitally,
Ray Essence does it.
right?
I think Ray Essence has showed you can do it. It's something called mechanical rights. But a lot of times, unless you're making a whole new song about it, you know, off the song, they don't really do it. You can 100% just put it online. But I think people look at putting stuff digitally online versus passing out a CD. CD was a little bit, you know, when you burn a CD, you could just give it out. I think people don't look at it as the same process of just getting it out there.
Yeah.
Because basically, you could do it like mixtapes. Remember, we love Lil Wayne probably more because there are people that love Lil Wayne mixtapes more than his albums.
Right.
For sure.
You know what I mean? It was just him flipping people beats. So, you know, it's easy to do. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know every band and what their thought process is, but I do think some of those things are missing. That could really help. You know what I mean? Like, because there's so much power in you going somewhere, and then when you leave, you can take the CD on with you.
Yeah, or the tape.
Yeah, or the tape, yeah.
All right, we're going to go. But let me, because I don't want to, we could talk about that forever, right? Yeah. But you mentioned working at the Marion Barry's Youth Leadership Institute for a decade. You know, lead mic, Optimistic Tribe.
Yep.
Hosting the
Metro World
joint, right? So and you spoke to us about your aspirations.
Mm.
When did you say, all right, here's the window now where I can now pursue the radio situation? What led to that decision, and what year was that when you did that?
So that was 2009. But I had worked at PGC. I was an intern. I was on the street team. I worked at something called Heaven 1580.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so I was always trying to find a way to get in. And what happened was, for people who do not know, Donnie Simpson goes on vacation, and Huggy Lowdown and Chris Paul leaves to go with Tom Joyner.
Oh yeah.
While he was on vacation.
Shout out to Huggy.
So shout out my man Hug. And so Donnie, it was something called America's Next Top Jock. So I said, oh, this is it. So I would do, when people had to submit their air checks and they would have to submit like things of what they were doing, every air check I had would have go-go music in it. And I would do like really funny jingles or whatever. In my mind, I'm thinking, well, I can't be Huggy, but I can do funny songs and I can take Chris Paul's place. So I was just trying to really emulate Chris Paul. Shout out to Chris Paul, that's my man too.
Yeah, shout out to Chris Paul. Can I interrupt real
Please,
quick?
go ahead.
Just for
Man, jump in.
for the
Like,
culture.
yeah.
So I don't know if y'all remember this, right? But I'm just trying to set the intentions for you know football season started in a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And remember, he redid the Ghetto Boys joint.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we going to the
Hold on.
show, homie.
Hold on.
I
Hold
just
on.
feel like we need to replay that. But anyway,
Skins
I'm
can't
sorry. I
lose,
didn't-
homie.
Huh?
Skins can't lose,
Skins
homie.
can't lose, homie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying by the time we got to the
Yeah.
where we going,
That was-
so we going to the show, homie.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry.
Oh,
that
nah.
was just
I've
felt
actually told him that. No,
was on my
it's
my
crazy
spirit.
because you would have to be there to remember that.
Yeah, bro.
Because they wouldn't lose. Remember, they 91.
Yeah.
They was like 11-0. Tony
Yeah.
Kornheiser does something in the Washington Post called the bandwagon, where
Oh,
he would.
yeah, I remember that.
And he had everybody. He would draw a cartoon of people getting back on the people getting on the bandwagon.
I remember that.
And every week the bandwagon would get bigger and bigger.
We in
Yeah.
that moment right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Don't you feel it? But anyway, go ahead.
No, for sure.
So now, America's Next Top Job.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know what
so,
I'm saying?
So I did
So-
America, and then what happened was I made it to the top 5, and then the people who made it to the top 5 got to do a day with Donnie. So the top 5 got to spend a day, so they wanted to see how would you be with
This
the team.
national.
Where it was Donnie. Well, Donnie averaged 700,000 to 800,000 people a day. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Listening.
PGC though.
Yeah,
But-
but you
Yeah.
got to remember, DMV is one of the biggest markets.
Sure enough.
It reaches internet, streaming. You know, because you could go online back then in 2009 and listen to Donnie.
Right.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Oh no. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so you know what I mean. So it was really huge. You know, it was a huge thing, and it's still Donnie. So I ended up being one of the people that got to sit on there for a day, and when it was over, I didn't win. Angie Corley won, but Donnie was like, "You brung so much to the table, and you did so good. I'm bringing you too." So he brung both of us.
And so tell us too the Bootsy Vegas name.
So
Did it exist before?
it
this?
did not.
Right. That's
no.
right. Okay.
So what happened was, I knew I couldn't use E on the radio. So shout out to my sister Samantha Gunny. I'm at her studio because she was who was helping me do all the jingles and all that. And I said, I know I want the last name to be Vegas, but I need a first name. I just wanted the last name to be Vegas. So we go through her Rolodex. You know, when you're trying to find instrumental music, the first one was Bootsy Collins. We want Bootsy. And I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
So I put Bootsy and Vegas together.
Vegas.
And then my moniker was funky like Bootsy, fly like Vegas.
Yeah, okay. All right, man.
And history was made.
So all right, so you on there? So
Yeah.
Donnie bringing you back?
Yeah, no, I you know what I mean, I basically essentially
Became a part of the
yeah,
show.
I was a part of the show, which was like the craziest thing ever, because people were calling me E one day, the next day I was Bootsy Vegas. People stopped calling me E immediately. It was like I got a facelift, and I always been good looking, but I got a facelift on this one. Like, you know, when I was in, I'll tell everybody, when I was in Listen, you know what I mean, I was getting Shanique with the good looking Shanique. When I got to Donnie, I was getting Madeline, Jennifer, and you know what I mean. Every ethnic group was available.
Yeah, it changed the game.
No,
it changed the game.
you know, it wasn't just no go around the way thing.
Right.
This was huge. Like everybody noticed me. You know what I mean? Like I would go places and people would recognize me by my voice. You know what I mean? And it would be all demographics. Like it was not black people, the people that you dealt with in go-go.
How deep is that though, right? That you said they would recognize me by my
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah, I was at a Dallas Mavericks, sitting floor seats with Donnie, watching the Dallas Mavericks. And I remember this because Sean Marion gets out of the layup line and goes shake Donnie's hand and take a picture with him. That was weird. You know, stuff that was not normally happening. I had access to everything. Yeah. And this girl said, "Oh my God, you sound familiar." You know what I mean? And I remember it because she was an Asian lady. And nobody Asian had ever told me that before.
Right.
Let that sit in. Yeah. So you know, we ended up having a great conversation. But yeah, people started recognizing me by my voice.
That's deep.
Yeah, like, because people say that about Donnie. Oh, I know Donnie's voice.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like people was, you know, they still say that.
Yeah.
They may not even know his face, but when he talk, they'll be like, "Oh, you're Donnie."
Yeah.
So yeah, but man, with the time to be, I still to this day I can't believe it.
Yeah.
So you went from Optimistic Tribe, and you also mentioned Listen, which I do want to come back to that too, because that was a pivotal shift in the music too. So you go from go-go being a lead mic to being on a team where you're not the lead, and not only are you not the lead, you're being led by Donnie Simpson.
Right.
So as a leader throughout your career professionally and what you do on the creative side, what was that like to now kind of like let off the gas and be led by somebody like that?
Well, I tell everybody, in my life, I have the best thing that ever happened to me is the worst thing sometimes that ever happened to me. You know what the best thing that ever happened to me in my life is? Is that I got to work for Donnie Simpson and Maurice White from Earth, Wind & Fire. You know what the worst thing is? I got to work for Donnie Simpson and Maurice White, because where do you go from that? Donnie Simpson is the highest level of journalistic leadership. He's one of the greatest thinkers. He knows his audience. He understands people. He's looking for people. And so for me, I looked at it like I'm literally being taught by the GOAT. That's what I looked at. It's almost like the equivalent of somebody being taught by Michael Jordan. Because when it comes to journalism and radio, he is the GOAT. Yeah. And I tell everybody, he did 50 years. There are no 50-year accidents. So there's a lot you can learn from somebody. So for me, I looked at it as, number one, it's a lot I can learn. It's a lot of resources that could be available to me that other people in my community, in go-go, my community could get. And so for me, it was just amazing for me to be there and be able to take it all in and learn. So that's what I looked at it as. I didn't come thinking I was in no leadership position. I was coming to learn. And shout out to DJ, his son too, because his son was the producer. I was coming to learn. So to me, it was, there have been times in my life where I'd be like, man, I can't believe I'm here. Yeah. When I sat there for the first time, I looked around like, man, I can't believe this. Literally. Because I had dreamed it in my head. I always wanted to do it. And in times in my life, the dream literally came to fruition like I thought it was. And that was what it is. Because I just felt like me and Donnie would get along really good. Before I met him, I just had a thing like, oh, I know. Something in me said, me and him going to get along. And I swear to God, as y'all know. Yeah. We are really close. We've talked in a lot of deep moments in life on both ends. We've cried on the phone together. We've celebrated together, births, deaths, everything. The relationship is what I thought. But for me, I was just happy to be there. And I was taking it as I get to learn something that most people don't get to learn how to do.
And did that role lead to the marketing role with Earth, Wind & Fire?
Yeah, so Earth, Wind & Fire was before that. But I will say it was before that.
Okay.
But I will say me working with Earth, Wind & Fire and Donnie knowing them and being able to say what kind of guys he is, I don't know if that helped. I never had a discussion, but I do know that he is very close with Earth, Wind & Fire. Got it. I would venture to say, I've never asked him. He definitely probably called him and say, hey, tell me about him. And I think if they vouch for me because, I worked with them for 5 years, I think that man had something to do with it. Because I didn't know what he was hearing about me. When you're in the go-go band and people may have a perception, because people start piecing together, oh, that's the guy in the go-go band. Remember, E was one guy. Bootsy Vegas was somebody else. Even when it was like trying out, people would be like, are you Bootsy Vegas? And I'd be like, oh, no, I don't know who that is. Right. I was playing it off like, I don't know who that is. Because I didn't want nobody to know it was me. I wanted to be a new person, so I could not be judged on what I thought they deemed go-go people to be or local people. Because I felt like it was never no local presence in these radio stations and the morning shows anyway. So I had a plan of I'm going to create something new and get judged on that, not by the guy they may have seen on the go-go stage before.
Very interesting.
So the Earth, Wind & Fire piece, Walk us through how that happened, though.
So, and people, everybody who know me know, and some people ask Scooby, anybody in OP Tribe, Raheem, all that. I used to tell everybody when I was a kid that Maurice White was going to be my father. So I believe, probably more than anybody in America, I believe in the power in the world. I believe in the power of manifestation. I feel like I manifested the Donnie situation, like I manifested what I'm doing now. But I had always said that I was going to work with Earth, Wind, and Fire, that Maurice was going to be my father. They had the Wolf Trap one day. People in the DMV know what the Wolf Trap is in Virginia. And I had snuck backstage and told them that I love the new album you guys got. I talked to the road manager. His name was Jabari McDavid. And I said, man, you guys need a street team just to travel with y'all on the road. And he was like, that's a good idea. Come meet the band. So I come meet the band. I meet everybody. And the drummer, John Parrish, says, hey, I want to go see the Backyard Band. You know what I mean? So people who do not know, Verdine White was one of the musical soundtrack directors for the Go-Go movie Good to Go. There was a Go-Go movie called Good to Go back in the 80s. He was the person that worked with Cliff Blackwell, and he actually produced the album. Oh, wow. So he had a relationship with Go-Go Music and people at the DMV. He got family in the DMV. So I told him that, but they wanted to go see Backyard. The next day, the drummer called and said, hey, we down here. Come get us. I went and got Ging truck and about 12 people's cars. I took about half of the band to the Mad Chef Cafe to see Backyard. Yeah, everybody back got to tell you this. We take them to see the band. They loved it. When it was over, we went to the Steak and Egg on Wisconsin Avenue and took them back to their hotel. The road manager said, hey, give me your number and I'm going to call you tomorrow. Man, but thank you because the band wanted to see it. The next day, he says, so how much would it cost for us for you to come out and lead this street team for Earth, Wind & Fire for this new album? I said, well, just give me $1,000 a week and $200 a week per diem. He said, all right, you hired. Where do I send the ticket to? You got an email address? This was 2000. This may have been 2000, 2001. I went and created an email address. They sent me an e-ticket. 2 weeks later, I was working for the Department of Recreation at the time. I said, hey, I just got a job with Earth, Wind & Fire. And people looking like, yeah, right. Right. And I ended up getting on the plane and meeting them in Cleveland, Ohio. And then that was my first day. I met everybody. I explained to them. They was like, we got all this promotional stuff. We want you to sell all this stuff at the shows and go to record stores while we're in the town because we're going to do this record independently. And then I look over and Philip Bailey is right there and Verdine is over there. And for a minute, I had to be like, am I dead? Yeah. I actually thought that. And I remember Philip Bailey was doing stretches and all that. And I'm kind of just staring at him. And he kind of just looked over. Was like, what's up, man? How you doing? You know what I mean? Because he saw me staring at him. Right. But, I was in Dino's one Thursday. And the next Thursday, I was in Cleveland, Ohio. Right. And then the next week, I'm on Santa Monica Boulevard at Kalimba Records in L.A., staying in an efficiency in West Hollywood. And I said, if I'm dead, this must be what heaven feel like. Yeah, how about that? And that's how it happened. So I got, they love me. I end up making a lot of money for them on the road. I end up being their media contact person, doing all the record store in-stores. I end up just doing anything they needed me to do. So the first thing was, they was like, well, you're going to drive the promotional truck. So I drove all across America, and I would have to leave the venue tonight and then go beat them to the next town, go to the record stores, and that's kind of like how it happened. And to this day, it's been everything that I've ever achieved came from Maurice White, Philip Bailey, Verdine White, and Ralph Johnson. My son is named after Ralph Johnson from Earth, Wind & Fire. He's my son, godfather.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So
Look at
5 years you said though, right?
Yeah, 5 years. You know what I mean?
I mean, I knew, but I didn't know.
Yeah, and I became really close with Maurice and became close with everybody in the band. And they kind of took me in, like a son. So what happened was, I'm doing good, but what happened was like, when the tours was over, I didn't know nobody in L.A. So I'm like, I started feeling alone, and the listening situation was going on. So Mike called and was like, I don't know what's going on, but do you want to come back home and do the listen thing? And I'm like, will the tour be over in about 2 weeks? He like, yeah, because, certain people want to do their own thing, and there was a split going on. And he said, well, when you come home, I'm going to put you, I came home, went straight to Club U, and did remember when KWS was doing the live broadcast?
Yeah.
Listen, we're playing on the radio.
Right, yeah,
That was
yeah.
my first show.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Club U.
Club U. Shout out to Club U.
Shout out to Club U.
Warren Williams, for everybody who knows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, big tall Warren. But and it's been the greatest thing that ever happened. Everything that I've ever achieved came from the leadership of Donnie and Maurice. I learned leadership at a different level. I learned commitment at a different level. I learned how to deal with people and sustain stuff for a long term. You know, to this day, I've never heard a human being describe and talk about music like Maurice White. To me, he's the greatest band leader, one of the greatest musicians that God ever created, not only in black music and all music. It is 2025, Earth, Wind & Fire still touring in arenas to this day, and they get played once every 27 minutes on the radio. And their last hit was 1983, Let's Groove Tonight. So I'm going to let you think about the SE's genius.
That's crazy.
Yeah, how about that?
Donnie Simpson, the other thing, just learned leadership at a high level. I learned commitment. But I will say the good correlation between Maurice White and Donnie is they come from very humble beginnings. Donnie Simpson comes from very, very, very humble beginnings. You know, he lived in an attic when he was growing up. His mother owned the record shop. His father worked at a plant, I think in Detroit.
Right?
Yeah, in Detroit. And, you know, they've had a family business. They lived in a house, and he had a brother. He lived in an attic in Detroit growing up. So they come from very humble beginnings. But, you know, literally, they completely changed my life. I don't exist without them.
Yeah.
Nah, and that's big though.
I don't exist, bro.
For you though to clearly pay homage and get
Absolutely.
them their
Rest in peace, Maurice White.
But I think some of that when we talk about the things that you glean from being in their presence, right? You also have transferred those values and those lessons along with clearly your own thing to so many young people
Right.
in our city.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And as we talked about, clearly after you left PGC, you got your own show down in Charlottesville, Virginia.
I remember that.
Shout out to
Yeah.
101 Jams in Charlottesville.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember when you left.
Yep.
We had a talk. I remember when
Yep.
you was first headed down that
Yep.
joint.
Yeah,
or
that was
whatever.
me stepping out on faith because I was not ready to give the radio thing up. And I had got offered a bunch of jobs. So what happened was, when the Donnie thing broke up, it was non-competes where you couldn't work for,
Oh, it's the market.
in the market. So it was 90 miles. Charlottesville was 94 miles.
Right over the threshold.
94 miles.
Yeah.
So I ended up going, I don't think they really cared anyway at that point, but but that was one of the greatest experiences of my life. Fun fact, my mother is born and raised in Charlottesville, and I had never got to meet none of that side of the family. So that was more of a learning that side because my mother died when I was in high school. So I love the fact that I got to really interact with them down there. The Paynes. My mother had 13 brothers and sisters growing up, and she migrated to go to Howard. So that was a lot of things that I got connected with being down there. So yeah, shout out to Charlottesville, 101 James.
Yeah. And so, man, one of the things that has been, the most inspiration in terms of personally that I've been able to gain from our friendship, man, is
Don't make me cry.
nah, I'm trying
Swear to
not
God,
to.
bro. Do not.
Nah, I ain't trying to, bro. But
God,
just
come on,
but just
man.
that the fact that, man, the way that you had cancer twice, and the way that you fought, and the transparency that we see more people being transparent today, but when you were being transparent about your fight, that wasn't something that was
Right.
happening.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And to get through that twice, to make all the sacrifices and the necessary changes and all that you did, bruh, like, just, again, inspired me beyond, what I mean? I don't even know if I could have the strength to do what you did. You know what I'm saying? But how can you look deaf in the eye, man.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that, man? What was that process like?
Well, this gonna sound like really crash, but you know, when you grew up in the environment that we grew up in DC in the 80s and deal with the death of friends and family members, to me that wasn't the toughest thing ever. You know what I mean? That don't necessarily make the top 10 when I looked at it. Number two, something in me said it wasn't over. I don't know why I felt this. I remember telling you this before.
Yeah.
Something in me said, nah, it's not over. And I had just started Deanwood at the time. I had just started Deanwood. And, you know, I've used this correlation to people before, but, you know, I can, share it with your audience is, you know how people say sometimes, oh, somebody made a devil with the devil. Somebody made a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
Deal with the devil. I actually believe I made a deal with God. And I don't think people talk about it like that all the time. I don't think people sometimes put in correlations like, you know, because if you can make a deal with the devil, why can't you make a deal with God? And I felt like I had found my purpose right before it happened, and I felt it was for Deanwood. I felt that my time was not over. I felt that I had figured something out, and I felt I had a purpose to get back to them. That first year, when I saw, because number one, I realized pretty early, oh, there is a need for Deanwood. There's a need, you know what I mean? Because my initial plan was to work on helping young people develop their communication skills. Because I feel like there's a real language barrier with young people, and I don't know what it is in schools. I think people need to learn basic communication skills. And when you develop anybody with communication skills as a young person, they will have more opportunities for them. And I saw that it worked the first year. I saw...
When you say Deanwood, just for all these other people know, you talking about the...
Yeah, Deanwood radio broadcast program right now.
There you go.
It was my first year.
What year is this?
This was 2016.
16, okay.
Going on 2017.
Okay.
And, you know, right when it was over, I was having problems swallowing. It was like the end of the summer. I go in there. They like, oh, you got stage 4 cancer, and you need to come right now. You need to stop everything you're doing. You know what I mean? So it happened. But I ended up learning, because once again, some of the worst things could be the best things. And I would say, because you're here, I learned about diet and was able to share it with people. You know what I mean? Shout out to Irk Curry.
Man.
Yeah.
I'm about to say something.
Okay, I already know.
But wait,
first of all, and you don't cry. So just make sure there's no tears in here when we in today. But what happened was, you know what I mean, I had to learn faith at a different level. I had to learn purpose at a different level. And I had to learn trusting the process and trusting divine intervention that had led me to places. To me, beating cancer was just as equal as beating over 100,000 people to be Donnie's co-host, or a guy from DC being able to go work with Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'd already kind of did the impossible before, you know what I mean? But when I realized the diet element to my lymphoma cancer and all of that, and once again, it did not feel like I was going to go. They told me you got stage 4 cancer. It's over 80% of your body. You have a tumor in your throat. People know I had to have third surgery, so I got this scar right here. They had to go in my throat. No matter all that was going on, it never felt like it was over to me. I don't know where this faith came from. I don't know where it happened. But I did have 2 dreams. Yeah, I have dreams that felt like movies.
Yeah.
So I had a dream, and my mother was talking to me. In another dream, Chuck Brown was talking to me. And both of the dreams was, I can't wait to see what you do next. And I'm going to share this with y'all. I told Donnie, and he talked about it on the radio. But I beat it the first time. It came back because I went off my diet. When it came back the second time, people freaked out. But I'm like, nah, I went off my diet. So I end up going straight plant-based, alkaline, vegan, detoxing. I beat it the second time. And then the real divine intervention was I had to have a stem cell transplant. So there's something called harvesting of the cells.
Yeah.
So I have a twin brother, everybody who knows that, but he smokes cigarettes and I don't. But what happened was I detoxed, and they said, well, let's see if you can harvest your own cells. The day I'm going into the joint. Irk Curry takes me. Donnie Simpson's on the phone telling the nurses, y'all be good to my man. You know what I mean? He's a funny guy. If he say stupid jokes, just ignore him. That's what he do. You know, we in there. And so they start the process. They told Irk, oh, he's going to be about 6 or 7 hours. So just come back probably tomorrow morning. About 1 hour and 30 minutes into it, the doctor come in and was like, shit, Oh, I'm sorry. I'll be right back. She go get two other nurses and doctors. And they said, Mr. Williams, you didn't harvest enough cells to do 2 stem cell transplant. You can go home now. And I was like, I called Irk back, and that let me know, okay, the deal that I had made, which was, in my mind, I'm going to go back to Deanwood and lead as many people out of the District of Columbia as I can, no matter the circumstances, no matter the situation. Nothing that I'm going to deal with in that equation is going to be worse than what I just dealt with. And I knew then that my purpose was Deanwood, and I had blinders on, and I had one. And every year I had the same mission. I want to develop your communication skills and get you out of the District of Columbia to the next level. And 51 times that has happened.
Yeah. And getting them out of District of Columbia, you mean getting them to
college.
To college.
Yes.
I just want that to be
clear.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So developing them and then ushering them to the next phase of their life, which is seeing what the world has to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, but you know, when that harvesting of the cell happened, I knew there was some divine intervention being done, and it was a clear indication that my purpose is to go back to Deanwood.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff that happens around Deanwood that surprises everybody every year, Magic Johnson, or when Timmy Teo got the thing from Columbia, Paxton showing up with the Congressional Award, people giving money, I just sit back. I sit back and be like, well, y'all could be surprised, but, you know, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I want to get to Deanwood, but I got to say this on the record. Got to say this. Y'all have seen me talk about my physical transformation since 2019. And sometimes I forget this, so I'm glad you're sitting here.
It's no problem, man.
When I was struggling, trying to figure it out physically, Eric Curry, my man.
Easy.
Yeah.
He was like, Silas, I'm going to walk with you. Not literally, because I wasn't walking at that time every day, but like, he's like, I'm going to do this with you. Eric helped me figure out some different things. And he was like, this is what I did with E when E had cancer.
Yeah.
So we started doing a raw diet together, like 20-day raw diet every year. Mm-hmm. And to this day, I still do that joint every
Hip City Veg.
He took me there. He took me there.
I mean, I'm just saying. And it's crazy, though, about when we talk about the impact, when somebody shares something with somebody, and then they, it moves. It moves.
I'm reading the book Contagious right now, and it talks about that. Right now, I'm reading that book this week.
Two of my greatest students is you and Buggy from the Backyard Band.
Listen, bro.
Yeah.
Eric, and when Eric put me on that raw diet for 20 days, and I started doing it over and over again, you know why I stuck with it? I was like, man, E beat cancer doing it.
Yeah.
You the reason why I do that, E.
Yeah.
Because I saw you beat it. And everybody that know me and know that's my identity now, I'm letting y'all know, this is who first got me on that mode. And I don't know if we ever really had a very detailed convo about it.
No, we didn't. But I was watching it.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing, people remember you were chubby and all that. Yeah. And I can remember seeing you walking, what you and Reek was going through. And I'm like, he done took it and ran with it more. I got to get back on it. Like, literally, he took it and went somewhere else with it. He has had a complete transformation into people listening, plant-based alkaline, no processed meat, no dairy, no sugar. Find a plant-based alternative to it, and man listen, you look amazing, bro.
Thank you. But I'm telling you, that early stages that you mentioned, 2017, 18, 19, what stuck in my mind was like, E helped beat the cancer like this. That's what kept me going early on.
I remember I was talking about it. I remember.
Yeah, that's crazy. I lose that sometimes, and I'm glad we sitting here with this.
Yeah, I help Buggy as well.
Yeah.
Buggy back now. He's slim.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, yeah. First of all, Buggy is like you. Y'all are the only two people that took it and learned more than I did. Because you and Buggy be telling me stuff. I'd be like, man, I got to get back on it now.
Shout out to Sauce, too, because every time I see Sauce, he always got something for me, too.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. But Sauce was always on it.
He always
was on it.
Right, it wasn't
But Buggy had a kidney transplant.
I remember.
He kind of been through. He been through it. And the next thing I know, he was back. He called me, and I gave him the diet. I'm in Atlanta, and he said it's a miracle. I said, oh no, it ain't a miracle. You back, baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So shout out that. But congratulations on that. And it's crazy because you actually inspired me as well.
I appreciate that.
So it's definitely tenfold.
So you made that contract with God that you get me through this.
100%.
I'm gonna get these kids through this program.
Yeah.
And you still doing that to this day.
100%.
So walk us through what this broadcast program looks like, what your role is, and how are you doing so much amazing work, bringing in amazing guests, getting people scholarships. Tell us about this.
Well, I'm going to drop some jewels today that maybe people can, that have never been discussed, But what we do, I work in the youth development division. And I want to give a supreme shout out to Lou Hall.
Oh, yeah.
Because Lou Hall was
shout out
the
to Coach
person.
Hall. Yeah.
Shout out to Lou.
Shout out to Lou.
Yeah.
Because Lou and Delano are the reason this program exists.
Shout out to
Shout out to
Delano.
Delano. We don't exist without them. But Lou, wanted to really bring a variation what the Institute was doing, which was a long-term youth developmental strategy. Lou would say when he was there, hey, man, what we do ain't rec. It's more of a long, because rec is considered leisure, but we're the youth development division. And Lou, was implementing, hey, we're going to have different ideas to have long-term strategies. So I created a long-term strategy, a 9-month plan. So technically, through the partnership with the Department of Employment Services, OY, Office of Youth Programming, we get to have our kids called the Winter Internship Program. Right. They have it currently right now. You can work from October to June, and then in my case, from June to August. So I have my kids from 11 months. So I just created a long-term strategy, but the real jewel is partnerships with other agencies and other organizations that deal with the same demographic that I serve. And let's look at DOES and OYP. They deal with 14 to 18. If I'm servicing 14 to 18 and you're providing opportunities and service and scholarships. So I started realizing, well, what other agencies in DC government are dealing with the same demographic, and what resources you may have, what resources I may have. But what happened was, me and Paxton Baker talked at the back of an Earth, Wind & Fire concert at Capital One. He became the board chairman of the Congressional Award Program, which is the only youth program partnered with Congress in America. There's only 3 programs in America partnered with Congress. Deanwood is one of them. So I want you to think about that, only 3. Everybody in my program, after they do over 300 hours of volunteer service, gets a Youth Congressional Medal of Freedom, which is the highest civilian award you can get in America, and you get your college letter of recommendation from Congress. So in the midst of that, I start cracking some codes in youth development and just with teens. Number one, people were not helping young people 14 to 18 with the college application process. In a lot of high schools in DC, you only got 1 or 2 or 3 guidance counselors. But when you got 500 people, 500 kids, you may got the scholars and all that, but where does the middle people go? So the Congressional Award, we came with the idea was, we're going to help everybody with your college application and everything to get you to apply for college. So I learned that when you have over 300 hours of volunteer service, when you're in the Honor Society, and you have over 3.5 GPA, there's a lot of scholarships available to you. And when you have the highest youth civilian, when you have the highest award in America and a letter of recommendation from Congress with those things, a lot of opportunities start coming available. But then I started realizing that, hey, I'm going to really expand this from radio to journalism. I wanted to really focus on journalism. The key about journalism is when you're a young person and you can develop your communication skills, you start researching the journey. We can look for Paxton, somebody who dropped out of high school, and when you start learning the journey, you start making connections with yourself. Right. Or oh wow, I've been through that. So I end up making it that, and then I just and I end up just having a standard of what we're gonna do. That we're gonna do 30 Q&As a year. That we're gonna prep and do 30 Q&As a year. And at the end of that 11 months, your communication skills will be better, your research skills will be better, you being able to network and be in other rooms will be better, and those skills will help you as you move on.
You also get like 30 keynote speeches at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all asking the questions, but you got all the formidable, amazing people that you're bringing before these young people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I will say this, though. What I have learned is when you lay out a route for young people and you tell them that I'm going to support you to get there, you'll be surprised how many people want to take that route. I don't necessarily have to sell it no more. We've been here almost 8 years now. The other people have seen what other people do. The route is there. I tell people now in my program, I have the pie and the ingredients already baked and ready for you. All you got to do is put it in the oven and turn the heat on.
Question on that note. At this point, 8 years in.
8 years in.
How many students do you have now, or did you have, like, say, this current cohort that may have either known somebody or are related to somebody that was in the past cohort? Like, because, like, are people seeking out the program now versus you, like,
so I'm going to be
recruiting?
honest. This is a true story. I can't meet the demand of it. This year I've had, and I'm not going to say people's names. I got one person who called me, who reached somebody and say, hey, I'm really gravely ill, but could you take my daughter? I've heard about your program. I've heard that you're really good. I don't know what they heard. I have another student who had 2 of her sons murdered, but they live in the Deanwood area, and she sat there and waited for me to take her kid. Now, her kid ended up being amazing, and he's about to be the youngest pilot in the District of Columbia. Oh, wow. He's 15. At this point, they're seeking me out now. They're coming, especially with all the news coverage. Yeah. I can't meet the demand. The issue is I'm one person by myself.
Well, that's what that was my next question.
Yeah, so I'm one person by myself. But let me say this, though. It's kind of getting out of hand now. I have people call. No, I'm not lying.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Tone, this is not exact. I'll take my glasses off. I got people begging me to take their kids. News people, you name it. People are seeking it out because they now see the opportunities, and also the fact that the partnership with Congress, and the fact that we get honored and we get to spend a week at Congress. This year we partnered with the Smithsonian. So we're the first group ever in the Smithsonian history. We hosted their largest festival, the Folklife Festival. Yeah. My students hosted the 6 days. We moderated every Q&A. We did everything and all that. They're now reaching me out, and I have a lot of journalistic teachers, because mass media is getting big in DCPS. A lot of the heads of those departments are trying to send me kids as well. So it's kind of taking off. But I got to think where it's a long-term strategy. So but yeah.
Is it something that could exist? So you at DPR, right? So is Deanwood. Could it be a Kennedy broadcast journalism?
100%. I do think
is there somebody learning from you in the way that you learn? You talked about your mentorship with Donnie and Maurice. Is there somebody
I actually do
that's
that's been learning under me?
Learning under you.
Yeah, I actually have 2 people. Shout out to Ed, shout out to Madison, shout out to Queen. I do have 3 people, and shout out to my man Duck, Elijah. I have about 4 people that because now this year is crazy. Is I got 7 students that started with me in high school is graduating college.
Yeah.
So it's like it's definitely there. I'm seeing the fruits of the labor. I have 2 people now that work in media spaces. One of my former students is a producer in the Fox station in Houston. Another one of my students work at HUR and HUT in Channel 32.
Right.
So now they're kind of going out, but the influx is about to happen in about the next 2 years. I'm going to have a lot of students that started with me that will be working in media situations now.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's kind of taken off. It has now exceeded what I thought it could do. Yeah, it has. Because we're partnered with WAMU. That traditionally does not have people come to Wisconsin Avenue. We do the Lift Every Voice segment. Black History Month, we do all the voiceovers. So we have a lot of journalistic media opportunities from outside entities. You know what I mean? So it actually is expanding. And I have to figure that out now. Yeah. Because it's time for us to create content now. We should be doing multimedia now. We should be, you know what I mean? In a perfect world, what I want to do next is I want us to create a channel now. It's too many of them, you know what I mean? I got about 9 kids that are already doing it for their college campuses.
Right.
I need to just bring them home and say, you got an hour, you got an hour, you got an hour, let's go. Because you would be, well, you wouldn't because you've been in there. I got somebody.
We go ahead.
Yeah, but I got people who are great at political. Shout out to Jessica. And I got Jessica Smith. I got people in there that I could put them in certain things and they would be great at. I got
No,
somebody.
you ain't gonna get no pushback from me
Yeah.
on that, bro.
I
Like,
got
seriously,
somebody- yeah.
they are like, I've been interviewed
No,
by a lot of
I
people.
witnessed
yeah,
it.
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's like phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like,
I was at the
seriously.
museum that night when he interviewed Kenyon.
Yeah, we actually.
Little
Yeah,
Eric and what was the young lady's
Jessica.
name?
Yeah.
Jessica. Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, he just mentioned her. Yeah,
Jessica's
bro.
at Kent State.
Crazy.
She's about to be the youngest editor of the Kent State magazine in the history of the school.
Oh, shout out to Jessica.
Jessica
man.
Smith,
Yeah, she
I ain't
did a great
surprised
job.
Yeah.
at all. Like, one,
AKA, I don't. Jessica's one person I would not let interview me. Like Jessica shakes people up.
Yeah.
We've had politicians and
Yeah.
certain people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't ready. Didn't
no.
expect that coming from that young lady.
No, they wasn't that ready. They ain't know. It was like, what is this?
Yeah.
We interviewed a council member,
Yeah.
and the council member wrapped it up quickly,
Yeah.
and then came back and apologized because this council member didn't know it was a setup.
Yeah.
Because Jessica and other people was just,
Yeah, she's
it was
doing
like, oh, you know what I mean? But I do think that is, the thing is that what we do is we let people know that there are some amazing, young, intelligent, articulate kids, and it don't matter where the program is at, you can do great creative work. You know what I mean? Especially because it's a long-term situation. But yeah, but in a perfect world, we're going to be a channel soon.
Yeah.
I like that.
Amazing.
Now, Tony talked earlier about how there's this misconception about young people in this city and how there are a lot of amazing kids in this city.
Right.
You've been able to harness a program and harness young people to be a part of the program, given the backdrop of what's happening in D.C. right now. What would you say, from experience as an expert at doing this, right? What would you say to the general public around what it takes to harness those young people, and what are the elements? What's the recipe? What has to be there for those programs to work?
Well, the recipe need to be a long-term investment. You know what I mean? Like a real long-term strategy, 6 months, 9 months. But it need to be investment in these programs. And I would encourage them to, like he said earlier, with the Attorney General, kind of go talk to people, go do your research, because we're not monolithic. Everybody is, we're not all one thing. There's good and bad in every sector situation. And sometimes you just gotta be around to know that, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, they only highlight the bad stuff, which is minimal when you really think about it.
Yeah.
And I would just say, do the research, but know there's a lot of great work being done. DC is a very multicultural, when you think about Columbia Heights and, our Latino brothers, and, we have all these ethnic groups to go to places like Wilson and School Without Walls and Banneker. We've been existing for a long time. It's just what gets highlighted. And I will say that the media may got to do a better job of trying to highlight the people that are doing the work. Because if all you're seeing is one thing night after night, it's interesting. Deanwood has never had a story done on them. Nobody has never came and done a story on the success of Deanwood.
Yeah.
51 kids, 34 on 4 rides, 2 to Ivy League schools, east of the river. Nobody has deemed us important to do a story about that.
Unbelievable.
Think about that, though.
I do.
There was a reporter that my good friend hooked me up with, Teresa Vargas, from Georgetown.
Yeah,
the
the one and only.
The one and only.
Yeah.
She did a story on us about Jordan when he got the Magic Johnson thing. Teresa called me out of the blue and said, hold on. Because what happened was she did the story on the young man that went to Columbia. She did a story on him. She did a story on Jordan Williams, that Magic Johnson, and Ayan Licata, who was in my program. Shout out to Hampton. She was the SGA president at Duke Ellington. So she had been seeing everybody, and she says, hold on, called me one day randomly and said, how are all these people in one program I'm seeing leading this, and nobody's never done a story? I said, I don't know. She said, I'm gonna call you back. And then she apologized and said, I'm going to do a story on you for the Washington Post, because there's no way. How is nobody not talking about this?
Sure.
You know what I mean? So shout out to Teresa Vargas, who was the journalism professor at Georgetown, and
Correct.
she gave us, shout out to Ed Tosin. A few of my students have went to Georgetown, and she offered some support. But A lot of people are surprised, but she was shocked.
And the kids being ready in the moment, because that Magic Johnson thing, if I understand it correctly, that was on the spot. He's like, I got you.
Yeah.
I'm going to take care of your schooling on one encounter.
Yeah.
For how shorty engaged with him, though.
Yeah. And because he asked him, how are you so comfortable asking questions? When he said, he's like, hold on. He stopped him. He's like, how are you so comfortable? And he was like, well, I do 25 to 30 Q&As a year. And he just says, oh, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? So at that time, Jordan was 16. So he had done about 100 Q&As.
Yeah.
Think about that. A young person had been developed, you know what I mean?
Correct.
You know what I mean? That he had researched. So 1 or 2 questions wasn't nothing to him.
Yeah, he do this.
Yeah, he do it already.
The reps, this is what he do.
He would have do. You know what I mean? When Teresa had remembered Timmy Teo. Well, Timmy Teo had been with me for 5 years. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, for 3 years at the time. Yeah, he been doing it. They're not shook, you know what I mean? And we got every guest you could think about coming in. Yeah. So it is, you know what I mean? I got 2 philosophies in Deanwood. Your network determines your net worth. I make everybody say that. This is a networking opportunity as well. Please take advantage of the fact that you're going to be in it for the next hour and a half. You're going to have a Joy Reid in front of you, make an impression. And the other one that I have is preparation and opportunity meets in the middle.
Yeah, man.
The more you prepare, the more you work on your preparation, the opportunity will manifest itself.
Absolutely. And they doing it.
They doing it.
You doing it, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, honestly, being able to have had, the honor to be before your groups.
Yeah.
The level of, and it's like, it's not about them being young people. Like, it's the question that they're asking. It's not even the level of the standard, the professionalism, the how the gravity of the questions, the clear research-based questions.
Right.
They're not surface level questions.
Absolutely.
You know
Everybody
what I
said
mean?
that. Everybody said that. Joy Reid just said that.
Yes.
Like every year, somebody coming in and be like, hold on, like what is happening here? But once again, I do think that it's a reflection of great the evolution of team programming. Like when we think about it, right? The currency is in this.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It kind of makes sense. The most leisure thing that we do is on our phone. You know what I mean? Journalism is in your phone. People are going to see the reels of this on social media, on their phone. So it does make sense that, the joy is I'm creating something around what they already do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Last year I had a thing called the Power of the Platform. And that was going to be the summer thing. And my point to them was, your phone is your platform. Your phone is your network. Your social media is your platform. What are you programming on your television station?
Right.
And I think when you look at it like that, how many kids would get that? Like, I mean, when you tell them, okay, you got power in your phone, you got power on your social media, you know what I mean? And you guys are a great reflection of that. But I just think that there's a time now where we got to realize that we got to start evolving the way we're going to reach these kids. Maurice White said this to me, and I keep this in my mind. Evolution is undefeated. Yeah. When it evolves, we got to get in front of it. Yeah. And it is now evolving the way we got to reach the kids, the way we got to teach the kids, the way we got to connect with them, the service that we're providing. It's not evolving now. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I would encourage people that are watching, talk to the people that are doing it successfully.
And I'm sitting here thinking, like, bro, I really think that we might need to figure out how we actually, I would love to be able to facilitate bringing USAO Piro, Judge Piro,
that would be
somebody
great.
Who was in media also.
Yes, she had a show here for a long time.
Bring her over to Deanwood, man. To sit with you and really have FaceTime with DC youth. Like, I think that would be amazing for both parties.
Yeah, so they can get a great perspective of the work being done.
Correct.
And it's not all what's being portrayed and all that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That is a small fraction of the kids out there.
Yes. I just think that would be, I'm going to do everything in my power to see who we can try to make that happen. I think just think we in a time we need something like that to happen.
Because the more we talk and have dialogue, the more we understand each other, the more we get a different perspective of what's really going on. Because sometimes when you're looking at it from one lens or what's being portrayed, you know what I mean? That's always been the case for us in DC, though. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
You know, we dealt with that. But that's a great idea. And I definitely think she would leave with a different perspective of you know, what's happening out here.
Sure enough.
So now, as we land this plane, right, you started talking about your dream as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Brown, Donnie Simpson, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Maurice White, right?
Yep.
You knocked all those things out, right? You got a lot of life to live in front of you.
Yep.
You kind of gave us a glimpse at what you're focused on now with this idea of a network for these young
100%.
people. So in 2045, what does it look like?
Well, I believe this in my heart. No, I don't believe it. I know it. We're going to be responsible for the next wave of young black journalists. They're coming out of Deanwood. We will. You can book this now. We're gonna be responsible for the young next generation in this area. We're gonna be leading that. And I will say what it would look like is that I can look on TV and see students that started with me in a dream in a rec center on TV leading the news, being a news reporter, being editors of a newspaper, editors of a magazine, just us being in the media space. And I do think that is coming. The boom for the results of this long-term strategy is about, the harvest is about to come in soon. 7 are graduating this year, 5 are graduating next year. And I would say they're really set up now. There are going to be some opportunities through the relationships that they have developed in this program. Shout out to Jotega Edie. Shout out to Joy Reid. Shout out to Damari Smith, the former NFL Players Association director, who is from Southeast D.C., that everybody don't know, from Savannah Terrace.
He got a book out, too.
He got a book just came out, but everybody don't know. He's born and raised in Southeast, and he taught law at Yale.
Yeah.
I want you to think about that. From Southeast, and now he decided, he said this, he told the kids as well, he wanted to spend more time in the sun, so now he's at Pepperdine.
Yeah.
But he's already, you know, there are people in there that have already identified certain people in our program. They've already, you know, some lines have already been, you know, connected, dots have been connected, and we got some big homies behind the curtain that are supporting us. Shout out to Paxton Baker.
Yeah, he was on the show, too.
Yeah, shout out to
Yo, I know, I know he was. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I know he was on here. Yeah, you know what I mean? But, you know, shout out to Donnie Simpson. Shout out to a lot of the people who have watched them develop now and are now playing a role in the next phase of their lives.
Yeah.
And trust me, it's happening.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to happen. Shout out to Sean Plater, the general manager of WHUR and WHUR WHUT, who is from Southeast D.C. So the dots have been connected in this long-term strategy that I had. So that's what it's going to be. And I would say, it is now 2025, I would say about 2031, you're going to look at TV seeing people. You will be. I actually can predict it. I have a prediction of who. I think Urt Curry is going to be on TV.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I think Urt Curry the third.
For sure.
I
can see it.
Yeah, like you can kind of mark him on the calendar.
Yeah.
Already, no question.
Yeah, you can put him up there. Jessica is going to be on TV.
Oh, yeah, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Mark her on the one who interviewed, you know what I mean, who in 11th grade was discussing public policy with Kenyon like it's a regular thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, get ready. There's a few people. My daughter's going to be on one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's about 4 or 5 that I know. I know where this is going to go, barring anything. You know what I mean? Madison, I have a girl named Skylar in my program. I got about 5 or 6 that if they stay the course, it's going to work out for them. And shout out to Auntie Allison.
Yeah.
Allison Seymour.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? So I do think we are set up, and that's what's going to happen. That has always been the plan, and I think we're now on the cusp of that.
Man, you know, the thing I kept thinking about this whole conversation, man. First of all, I've been thinking all day, like, when did I first meet you, right? But again, I'm super young, and we talked about the go-go thing and the lead mic thing and all that. And the thing that you talk about a lot, especially in the book and beyond that, is the lead mics, man, and you in particular, you made people feel seen.
Mm-hmm.
Even out in the community, right? When I would see you as a young guy, you knew who I was, and that meant something to me, right?
I got the funniest story about you.
Can we share that online, or should we cut that off?
Okay, the basketball. You had a basketball team you put in a tournament, and do you remember what the name of the team was? You went and brought the jerseys. You remember the name of the team?
I think so.
Can I say it or no?
You can.
The Skunk Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, up the street.
what
Oh,
it
up
is.
the street.
Yeah.
Up the street.
Yeah.
That was like 2000.
2002.
Yeah.
You were still young. You was just.
But let me say this though.
uh,
They made it seem like that. They kind of forced me to run the team.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I was working for DPR at the time. I remember that. And I remember you was like, well, we here.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. But I remember you organizing everything.
Uh-huh.
I remember you being, but I can remember you because you went to Coolidge.
I did.
You know what I mean? And Eric Curry is like my god brother. You know what I mean? I don't want to say I helped raise them, but he's like my little brother. So I can remember all of y'all, I remember you in junior high school.
And the thing is, like, you made people feel seen then, and then now what you're doing is making people be seen.
Mm-hmm.
So even in this new role, it's the same formula. Putting young people in position to be seen.
Yeah.
That's incredible, man.
To God be the glory.
No, for real.
To God be the glory. Each one
Appreciate
teach
you,
one.
bro.
But I will say it is, once again, it's in the spirit. We don't. I know I've been saying this. Azar Rahim
Yeah.
and Tony Lewis Jr. I looked at what they were doing in the community, and I felt like, and it was never on no jealousy. Look, I felt like, man, I could be doing something too. I felt like what the role that y'all was serving in your community, without being celebrated, because nobody never really celebrated y'all, because Lord knows I saw you mediate stuff that nobody will ever know that you mediated.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, like Azar, I remember y'all when y'all was young.
Yeah.
And I know it could have went somewhere else. And I just felt like, man, I could be doing what they was doing, that it was needed. You know what I mean? And so, I'm saying this on camera. I don't exist without you and Azar. Y'all made me want to be better. Y'all made me want to give the service that y'all do. You know what I mean?
Bro, I mean, I receive
And
that.
you better not cry, bro.
Nah, I'm not gonna
All
cry.
right, come on, man. Yeah, man.
But before we go, I think that is so pertinent and so timely in this moment that no matter who you are, where you are, you can lead from where you are.
Right.
Yeah.
And you ain't gotta wait on the city or already people that's in position, so-called position or leaders or whatever. In this moment, we need everybody everybody got a nickel in this quarter, man.
Right. That's real talk.
Do your part. And in doing your part, you might can do something that take us to the next level.
Yeah.
Like take us past what's been done already. Like what you doing. It's incredible what you're doing, bro.
Thank you, bro.
It's literally incredible. And I think it also is a representation of what's possible in this city. You talk about the things that can't happen nowhere else. But what all of the things that's involved in your program and to be able to be supported and to have other things going on in the city that you can connect people to help catapult your youth, our babies. It's amazing, bro. And I think we just got to continue to like model what people want to do. You setting the precedent for like it's possible.
Right.
So
yeah, it's possible and it's necessary. And once again, we all got a part to play, and it don't got to be competitive. It could be out of love for our community. Like I think with Azar, like probably more than anybody, Azar get to look at TV and see people in the NFL that he coaches a high school
that's
person.
my kid. That's
Yeah, like
fact.
literally, and that's what it's gonna be for me when I see them on TV. You know what I mean? But
That's a dope comparison.
That is.
They're going pro.
They going
They're
pro.
going pro,
They're
yeah.
going
How
pro.
about that, dog?
They're going to go pro.
bro.
They're going to go pro.
Man.
From an idea,
Man.
you know what I mean, and somebody pouring into them. But other people pouring into them too as well, you know what I mean? So, supreme shout out to Donnie Simpson, Allison Seymour, and Tracy Wilkers, who've been coming every year with me.
Yeah.
Since I created it, they come every year. Allison literally has mentored every young lady in that program.
Yeah.
No Hampton bias.
I'm about to say that's that Hampton.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know how that go. You know how that go.
no Hampton bias. Donnie, and the role that Tracy does when she come in and break down what investigative journalism is.
Yeah.
And this is an avenue for you to go. So I think the joy is that there's a lot of people pouring in, and you can see where this idea could go. But somebody may have a better idea than me. Yeah. You never know. Somebody may, everybody can do their part and do their role, and and you don't know what it is. Because if you'd have told me 51 would have went, I'd have been like, yeah. You know what I mean? Now I'm looking forward to 151.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's it. Well, nah, E, we thank you for coming in.
Man, thank y'all, man.
And, we got to get you back to have like a specific go-go type zone too, I think.
Yeah.
And I know we don't want to come back and have we'll talk politics another
No.
Yeah.
I will say, as my political debate partner, I wish the stuff that we talk about in politics, maybe we could put out because it's great insight. But I will say this: every election cycle we give our predictions. In the beginning, I was winning on a landslide, but Tony has been really taking me to the woodshed lately.
I've been hot lately.
Oh,
man,
he have been on it. You know what I mean? Like,
but we also agree a little more now too. Sometimes we see things alike, but yeah. Because one thing you're good at is I let my feelings and my pride and love for people, and you know how to just see it for what it is. Yeah. Sometimes not for what you want it or would like it to be. Facts.
You know what I mean? So I will say that, but I will say it's great. Number one, I appreciate you always supporting us. I appreciate you always retweeting what we do, whether you know it or not. That does help. And just thank you for your unwavering support, both of you guys. And man, I appreciate y'all. You know what I mean? I really do. And you guys are inspirational to, you know what I mean? Like, what you guys are doing is bigger than what you know. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I just encourage you guys, give more people like me the platform because we probably need it.
That's what this is about.
Yeah, we definitely need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, once again, you guys, another great episode.
I'm sorry. Can I say one more thing before I go?
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to look at you right now. I'm recruiting your daughter. So I
want
you to know this right now, bro.
Yeah. Ready.
Hold on.
Yeah. Ready, bro. We talked about it over that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So I saw your daughter at the award ceremony.
Yeah.
She tell y'all.
She told me.
Went and talked to her and said, look at me like the uncle. You know me. She's like, no, I know you. You played already good. Yeah. But I'm like, no, I already have my eyes set on you. Yeah. I already have a plan for you and your future. So I told her I'm planning your future now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. She looked at me and was like, yeah. So I'm telling you now, bro.
She already knows.
If I have to go to chess, I will. Right. If I got to go around you, I'm getting my first round draft pick.
She ready to go. You ain't got to worry about that.
I'm getting my first round draft pick. You know what I mean? That's going to be the next Jessica.
No doubt, bro. For sure.
And Jessica going to mentor.
Yeah.
That's
there you go. There you go, right there.
Okay, now I got it out the way.
There we go.
I want that documentation beats conversation.
That's right.
I love it.
That's on record.
It's on record, baby.
It's on record.
I love it.
I'm coming to get her.
No doubt.
Well, that's it, y'all. Heart of the City, another great episode. My man Bootsy Vegas, a.k.a. a.k.a. Salih Williams. Thank y'all for always watching. Thank you guys for supporting us on YouTube, on Instagram, the whole nine. Continue to support us. Share with a friend. And we'll see you next time. Peace and love.
Don't get taken.
Don't get taken.